Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us at today's series of Quick Connect. We'll be getting started in just a moment. I'm excited to announce our topic for today is credit card processing, pricing, security, risks, and rewards. We will be joined by two people from Elevon, and we're excited to get started with them in just a moment. But before we begin, I would like to ask for just a moment that you, if you have any questions, that you are able to place those into the comments section during the talk. We will be able to address those during the talk. Also, if you're on Zoom, if you're joining us through Zoom rather than on Facebook, you can add your questions into the Q&A feature, and we'll be happy to address those as well. So as I said, any questions will be addressed as they come in. This is meant to be a time for Q&A, but also to bring some information to our attendees. And so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and kick us off. So welcome to Quick Connect for today. We'll be discussing credit card processing, pricing, security, the risks, and the rewards. This session is being recorded. You're joining us. We are offering this service as part of the Penn State SBDC services. If you're not familiar with our services, you can check us out on either our Facebook page or on our actual website for more information about our services. But here's a brief overview of what we do. We offer free one-on-one consulting services to small businesses. We also offer training, information, resources, and referrals. I'll be giving some more information both about our guest speakers and about the SBDC towards the end of the talk. And we'll be also adding that information into the chat, both on Facebook and Zoom. So thank you for joining us. And I'm going to go ahead and ask our guest speakers to unmute and join us onto the talk as we get started talking about credit card and payment processing today. Great. Can you both hear me? Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yes, absolutely. Let's get started. If we could just introduce both of you. We have Brent and Beth here. Do you want to start, Brent, and kind of introduce who you are, and then maybe introduce Beth as well, and tell a little bit about your company and what you guys do?
Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you for having us today. So my name is Brent Vincent. I'm the Northeast Sales Director for Elevon in the Community Bank channel. So I've been with Elevon for just over 10 years now. I started as a sales rep in the Southern Tier, Binghamton, New York region. And then I bridged into the director role now. So my entire team covers the entire Northeast. So I have sales reps all the way up in Maine, all the way down, obviously, into Pennsylvania. And we have Beth covering that region and that portion for us. So essentially what my role is to work with community bank groups, work with my team, and put them in position to have conversations with business customers and find ways we can help their business. I try to make that referral process as easy as possible. We want to sit down and have conversations with business customers, find ways we can enhance and help their business, put them in the right solutions, and help them today, tomorrow, and well into the future. So I'll toss it over to Beth for introductions, and then we can jump right into everything.
Great. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to our talk because I know that you guys really do focus on small businesses, which is really an important part of the talk today. Beth, why don't you tell us a little bit about your role and what you do?
Sure. My name is Beth Schechner. I am Regional Account Executive with Elevon. I've been working with Elevon for just under 5 years, but I have industry experience prior to that. So I've been in the industry for roughly about 6 or 7 years now. I'm located in Clark Summit, Pennsylvania, which is just a little bit north of Scranton, but I do cover all of the Northeast Pennsylvania, Central Pennsylvania region in working with our community bank partners. And with that, helping out those small business customers that are a part of our community bank partners business.
Great. Well, thank you both for joining us. I'm really excited to bring this talk to our audience members, specifically because the holidays are coming. And I know that there's a lot of things that, retail businesses and just businesses, all businesses alike, are thinking about this holiday season, especially now that we have COVID and we're trying to make things more secure and safe for our businesses and our customers. So Brent, can you start us off? And you kind of alluded to me the other day, you were describing some 3 S's or 4 S's that you kind of live by when talking about payment processing. Can you outline what those are?
Yeah, thank you. And it's sort of that consultative approach that we take when we have conversations with customers. So it started out with, we focused on the 3 S's, and we've added now with the climate that we're in, the sort of things we're seeing out in the marketplace, we've added a 4th S to that. So the first S is speed. And what does that mean? Well, we want to increase the time that it takes for your customers or our customers to get that new cash flow. So they take a payment from their customer, and then that money, those funds are available within the next day, within 24 hours. So speed to get those funds back into the customer's hands, back into their account, so they can put those back into the business and help grow their business. We have true next day funding for customers. The faster that we can get those funds back in them, the easier it is for them to use them and grow their business. The second S is for security. Security is on the top of everyone's mind. Every business, whether it's a large business, small to medium-sized business, is thinking about security, how they can keep their customers' information as secure as possible. So we take that from keeping the softwares and the solutions and the equipments that we have is all encrypted. It takes all that information, changes it into a numerical number, and keeps that information secure. It gives our customers peace of mind, but it also gives their customers peace of mind. And they know that when they walk into a customer's location or a business, that their information is going to be secure. A data breach can really, really harm large organizations, right? But they usually can survive. If it's a small to medium-sized business, one data breach usually puts them out of business. So we're focused on security, getting them the most secure programs in the industry, giving them peace of mind, and like I mentioned, giving their customers peace of mind. The third S is solutions. So what does that really mean? Well, we talked about finding and uncovering the business needs of each small business. So we have those in-depth conversations through probing and discovery questions. We find out what their needs are, what they're looking for, what they really need in their business to help grow their business or meet their customers' needs and demands. So when we have conversations with customers, it's a true solution. Yes, we'll talk to them about transaction fees and rates and things like that, but it's more of that consultative back and forth question and answer, so we can find solutions and programs we have that can enhance their business. That's extremely important to us. We want to make sure that we're putting each customer in the correct program. We'll talk about it later on down the road of specific programs and how we design those, but that true solution selling is finding a specific need that customers have, finding out what we have that fits that need, and then developing it out and delivering it to the customers. The last S that we've recently added, and you can imagine we added it this year, probably around February and March, is safety. More and more people are really safety conscious, handling credit cards, seeing people face to face. With what's going on in the landscape out there today, we've got to make sure that customers can keep payments flowing in. They can still get payments even if they can't see their customers, or if they are seeing their customers, let's have a contact solution so they don't have to pass cards back and forth. So they don't have to have more interactions or more close capacity conversations with customers if they don't have to. So all of our solutions offer a contactless form of payment. So again, it's speed, solutions, security, and safety. Those are how we really go to business. That's how we approach our talking to customers, developing the solution, and getting them something that, again, that can enhance their business and help them out today.
Yeah, those are really great, and I think that's an easy way for our businesses to remember what they're looking for when trying to choose what kind of payment processing platform to use. I love the idea of security. We actually at the Small Business Development Centers across the state have been really focusing on security. In fact, I just did a cybersecurity talk a couple weeks ago with someone from the Pennsylvania SBDC. And he just told us that, security is huge. And a lot of times a breach of security, you don't even, a hacker will go in and steal something and they don't even know what they're stealing. They're just taking data to use later, which is interesting because I think a lot of small businesses may feel like, well, I don't have anything to steal. So that's really important. I also like that. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, that's a great point you brought up, right? Is all the large big box stores and chain retails, they're adding more security, same security that we have for them, right? We do the processing for a lot of those folks. So where cyber criminals are now targeting is the small to medium business space. a lot of those folks don't feel like they can get or they don't have access to the same securities. Well, that's just not true. We have those, and we'll implement those when we have conversations with customers. That's what we want to lead with. Is let's get you secure. Let's get you the right solution. Let's get your money faster. And then we can also talk about the merchant services processing portion of it as well. Criminals are getting smarter out there. They're going after the mom and pops on Main Street in upstate New York and in Pennsylvania. Those are the folks they're now targeting. We want to make sure that we get the security features in their hands that will give them peace of mind at night.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree that, what we see too with our small businesses, and not to be a doomsday predictor, but a lot of times people don't take security seriously until there's been a breach. So again, just that encouragement to take that portion seriously. And I know that your business really works with finding solutions. We really talked about solutions being individual to a business, which is great because I think I get this question a lot from my small businesses. Well, how do I choose a credit card processor? And in the message is that each business is going to have a different solution. So that's great. And finally, you mentioned safety. And I was wondering, COVID on everybody's mind this year. Beth, maybe if you could dive in a little bit deeper on how your industry has seen an increase in demand due to COVID and what the solutions are that are offered around staying safe.
Sure, absolutely. So as Brent mentioned, safety is a big thing for a lot of customers and merchants right now. And one of the things that we're looking at is how can we help merchants and small businesses process in a contactless environment. With the pandemic and the recent, past few months, we realize we're all operating in a new normal, so to speak. So contactless solutions, we have a variety of different ways that a merchant can process in a contactless environment, whether it be your brick and mortar store. So now we're looking at e-commerce solutions, or providing you the type of equipment where you can accept Apple Pay, Google Pay, things of that nature. So you're ready to accept payments, and moving away from cash, which is, definitely have some safety concerns around with the virus. So we're really trying to help businesses in that way. In addition, just trying to give customers tips and driving business back into their stores. So one way in doing that is through gift card, loyalty, promotions, different things like that. One thing that we offer that's very unique is a program called Fanfare. So a merchant can pretty much get gift card and loyalty package, use those gift cards, make some promo cards, invite customers back in. But there's a variety of ways, and especially during the holidays, gift cards are definitely a must for, I would say, all retail and restaurant businesses.
Yeah, no, that's a great tip. And I think we're going to talk a little bit more about some different gift card and loyalty programs that small businesses can be implementing towards the end of the talk. So thank you so much. Yeah, I know COVID is huge on everybody's mind. And you mentioned e-commerce, and one of the things that we were discussing and just last week with our small businesses was that this year you need to be online. Most businesses need to be online because customers got comfortable buying online over when we were on lockdown or shut down. So yeah, I think the e-commerce solutions are going to be a huge must going forward for a lot of most retailers. Speaking of how businesses are set up, Brent, I was really surprised to learn how personal you tailor your solutions to the small businesses. Can you talk a little bit about why that's important?
Sure. And we hear it a lot, right? We'll talk to a customer, we'll start our initial conversation, and it'll start out with, well, what's your rate? What are you going to charge me? And we don't take that approach. We want to have that conversation with the customer because we design specific programs for each individual customer. We'd be doing customers a disservice if we just had sort of a rate sheet, handed it to them, and didn't ask them questions. The examples that we use, because they are so vastly different, is the different program we would design for a deli and the different program we would design for an auto body repair shop. They would be vastly different. A deli is more concerned about the transaction fee. They see more transactions, but the rate is much, much lower. or the average ticket is much, much lower. So they're doing a lot of transactions with a low average ticket. On the other side, an auto body repair shop probably sees not a lot of transactions, right? Maybe 10 to 20, a small business area per month, but their average ticket's much, much higher. The types of cards you'll be using at these locations are vastly different. On a low average ticket, a lot of people will probably be using their debit card. Well, the higher average ticket, folks tend to navigate towards rewards cards so they can get those cash backs, those rewards. We want to design programs specific for each one of those industries. Have conversations, understand what types of cards they're seeing, understanding how they're processing those cards, and then design a program specific to them. We all have to operate with the interchange rates or the cost from the card brand associations, Visa, MasterCard, Discover, Amex. But what we can do is build in certain tiers, like for an auto body repair shop. If we know they're getting a lot of rewards cards, well, let's give them a little bit of break on those types of cards. Whereas a deli, they may not get a ton of those. It may not matter to them that much. It may be, I need to know what that debit rate is going to be. So we talk to them. Again, a deli might want our gift card program. They might want to have a stand of gift cards that sit right there on the counter that folks can buy gift cards for their friends and family and walk out the door. Auto body repair shop may not need that. They may not need a loyalty program. They may not need some of the other features we have. A deli may not need our billing and invoicing. They may not need our reoccurring payments, but we have all these solutions, benefits, and features that are specific to certain customers. That's why we have conversations with them. We don't take that cookie cutter approach. We would be doing customers a disservice if we just handed them a rate sheet. We bump up against Square quite a bit. We have programs that are just like Square, only better. That sort of fits a very niche or niche market, right? For very specific customers, they've got, one or two rates. We have similar programs to that, but let's have a conversation. Let's find out, what you're doing, who you're seeing, how you're processing those cards. You brought up e-commerce accounts. Those rates are vastly different from a face-to-face environment or over the phone. Those rates are, again, they're a little bit different because of the types of transactions you're seeing. Everyone should have an online or e-commerce presence. We can help them build that program. We can build that face-to-face program with them through conversations, letting them know we have that vested interest. Beth is in market. The rest of my team, we actually go out and see these individuals, have conversations, call them up and see how we can help their businesses. So that's our approach. It's that the resources of a global company, which Elevon is, worldwide a top 5 processor, but you have in-market local reps that have a vested interest in your business and in how you process and the programs we put out there in market. So again, we take that approach where we want to have conversations, find the best solution, deliver that to the customer, and then see them grow, as they partner with us.
Yeah, thank you for that, Brent. I really do think that is such a big question that a lot of our small businesses have. How do I choose a payment processing platform? And the message is that it's not a one size fits all decision. And really being able to ask the right questions is important. And thank you for laying those out for us.
Yep.
Beth, can you go a little bit deeper into what's the difference between interest rate, transaction fee, and those kind of things, and just kind of explain how that might work for a small business?
Sure. So we do have a variety of payment platforms. Almost everything is going to have a percentage attached to it and a transaction or an authorization fee. So some of the programs that we offer, for example, we have flat rate programs, which would be one flat percentage with an authorization. We have transparency programs just with like interchange. It goes directly through interchange with a processing fee on top of that. But one unique program that we do offer that not all processors offer is called the C4 Surcharge Program. And what that allows the merchant to offer their customer is a way of they're offering to accept payment processing, but they're passing that fee off to the customer just on credit card transactions. We cannot surcharge debit cards, so the merchant's still responsible for the debit card transactions, but it gives them a cost-effective way to offer payment processing to their customers while passing off that fee to them. So I know in a time when many small businesses are thinking about cash flow issues, things of that nature, it provides them a way to accept cards without worrying about heavy fees too.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, that I know that I talked to some of my clients about building in those transaction fees into their invoices, especially the higher ticketed invoices that it really makes a difference on. So, so that's an interesting program. Just to kind of back up a little bit, so the interest rate and the transaction fee, every time there's a swipe, there is an interest rate and a transaction fee, or are there some that are just, does that happen with every transaction?
So, I mean, typically, yes, you're going to see a percentage within a transaction fee, no matter what type of the platform it's going to be. So, with the exception of the surcharge, we're passing through a flat percentage rate that gets passed off to the customer. There isn't a transaction fee that would get passed off to them. But typically speaking, you're going to see, whether it be a tiered program, a flat rate program, an interchange plus program, you're going to have a percentage plus a transaction or an authorization fee attached to that. The idea is to look at what makes sense to you. So with our Clear and Simple program, which is a flat rate program, all the fees are built in, card brand fees, assessment fees. With another traditional program such as enhanced interchange or interchange plus, you're going to have that interchange fee plus the processing fee plus card brand fees that will be passed through. So it just really depends on what's easier for the merchant, and also what type of business and how they're processing. Typically, we can guide them in the right direction to see, which payment platform would work better for them.
Yeah, no, I think that, thank you for outlining that a little bit more clearly. I think that's one thing that we've been kind of driving home in this talk so far, is along the ideas that that it's really not a one size fits all. So, understanding that there are different types of fees that all processors use, and in making that decision on what works best for your type of business is important.
Elizabeth,
Brent,
can I
yeah, go
add
ahead.
to that before we move on? One thing we do want to mention that's unique to us is we don't have a contract or lock customers, and we have no cancellation fee. So if they get into any of these pricing programs, there's easy flexibility to move to another one if they don't like the one that they picked originally, or if they find for whatever reason they want to leave us after a day, a year, 10 years, there's no cancellation fee. We design specific programs to meet their needs, so we don't feel the need to lock them in for any sort of length of time. We also recommend, and we have the abilities to do rate reviews for customers. We recommend that every 12 months they reach out to our customer care, which is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and ask for a rate review, just to make sure they're still getting the best program for their needs. Something easily could change it. It wouldn't be anything maybe even on our end. What if it's a retail shop that all of a sudden had an average ticket of around $50, but they got this new shipment of jeans or purses, and now it's got a tag of $200 on it. So their average ticket raised. So now they're seeing more rewards cards. Well, let's take a look at that. Let's look at what they did over the last 12 months and see if we have to build in an extra tier for them. So we have multiple layers to make sure that customers are always, no matter what happens, in the best program for them.
Yeah, that's a great point. Those rate reviews are a great idea. We did talk a little bit about too how important it is to evaluate how your cash flow is, and you alluded a little bit towards the beginning of the talk that you have a very speedy solution, 24-hour direct deposit. Can you talk about why this is important in relation to business accounts receivables?
Sure, and getting funds back into a business is crucial. It's vital, especially in specific verticals, but pretty much for any business. So we do offer true next day funding. As long as businesses settle or close out their terminal or equipment by 10 p.m., the money's in their account the next day. If they happen to have an operation that either closes past 10 p.m. or is a 24-hour operation, we do have same day funding. So as long as they settle or close out by 6 a.m., the funds are still in the account that same day. So it's absolutely vital to get those funds back to a customer. When we talk about accounts receivable, yes, we can help customers with that face-to-face transaction, over the phone transaction, even e-commerce transactions. But what about those service industries, those customers that have outstanding accounts receivable? Well, how can we help them in that arena? We have a billing and invoicing feature, which I talked about earlier. We have ways that you can set customers up on payment plans. So if a customer, think about a medical facility or a service industry, accountants, lawyers, if they have a large outstanding bill, we can set those customers up on reoccurring payments. Your customers, the customers, our customers can set up the time of when money comes off that account. There's nothing else they have to do. If it's $1,000 outstanding, they can take $100 off someone's credit card once a week until that balance is down to zero. I mean, what an amazing way to reduce customers' accounts receivable, get that cash back into their business. They don't have to invoice. They don't have to pay a separate company to do that. They don't have to keep calling up their customers, hounding them. They can set up a plan in place to make sure that they get their money. We're improving their processes. We're getting them cash faster, and we're making an overall better experience for their customers. You mentioned e-commerce accounts. I mean, we want to give their customers and our customers all the avenues to accept payments. The more avenues or ways they have to accept payments from their customers, probably the faster they're going to get paid. Our homegrown product Converge can help them with all this, from reoccurring billing for monthly subscriptions, rental properties, and again, the accounts receivable. When we have conversations with small businesses, we'll talk to them. Do you have outstanding accounts receivable? Well, if you do, let's build in a face-to-face solution, contactless, so you're safe and secure. You're getting your funds as fast. Let's help reduce those accounts receivable as well. Let's get some of those customers on payment plans. Let's send them a bill or an invoice where your customers can pay just by clicking on a link in an email. These are conversations we have. These don't normally happen with other processors with small businesses. Again, they harken back to, let's see if we can save you $5 or $10 here a month and get you in this program. Whereas we want to add value to the businesses that we work with. We want them to grow, flourish, and enhance their processes and their customers' experience.
Great. Yeah, I know that I mentioned to you one of my favorite books right now for a lot of my small businesses is the Forever Transaction. And it talks about the idea that every business can find a way to have recurring payments coming in as just a steady cash flow. So I think it's great that that you have plans out there and that we can implement these plans to get funds to businesses more quickly. Just shifting gears a little bit, Beth, why don't you tell us a little bit about inventory tracking and how important inventory tracking is. I think that I see this a lot with small businesses, that they're struggling with inventory tracking and getting the inventory tracking to really talk to their payment processing. Can you talk a little bit about how you guys handle that?
Sure. So with inventory tracking, variety, whether it be a retail business or a restaurant business, we obviously have our point of sale systems that can do robust tracking and inventory. We have Talic, and we also partner with NCR Silver. So it's really to really just honing in on those reporting that will provide a merchant that, right at the top of the minute inventory. Both these solutions do that because they're cloud-based solutions, and a business can actually access, or a business owner can access these reports from anywhere. They don't have to be at their business because it is cloud-based. They can access these reports, and they could be on vacation at the beach and see what's going on with their business. So those are definitely great tools. In addition to reporting, we also have reporting with our statements. So the statements can be, if they're not using an e-point of sale solution on one of our other terminals, whether it be Converge, for example. Converge provides very detailed reporting that can be exported into a CSV file. And if a customer is using something, say like QuickBooks, that can be easily uploaded into that.
Yeah, thank you. I know getting a handle on inventory is such an essential task for small businesses. And before we transition into the fun holiday talk about gift cards and that kind of stuff, could you explain, Beth, just a little bit more about the security features? You mentioned something called Pci Compliant. Could you explain a little bit what that means and why that's important to be looking for that security feature, and anything else that you could recommend to our small businesses as far as making sure their transactions are secure this holiday season?
Yeah, absolutely. So Pci Compliance stands for card industry compliance. It's something that's required. It's an industry standard, and it's required by the card brands. So one of the best things that we can offer at Elevon is the most safe and secure solutions with the best PCI compliance that's paired with that. So, what that means is we have a variety of ways for merchants to become compliant, stay in compliance. We partner with a third-party company called Sysnet that will put everybody into a certain level of compliance. But that's the thing too, we have very scalable compliance. So if there's a very large business that's worried about a breach, it comes with very large breach protection, to a basic that gets everybody covered and to the right place where they need to be. With that, there's annual compliance questionnaire. So many merchants that are already processing are probably familiar with that. We have a variety of ways that that can be completed as well. The other thing to keep in mind too is if you're not already processing with EMV, which is the chip, you definitely want the most secure technology that you can have available to you in that part of those standards. In addition to taking transactions over the phone, certain protocols that are going behind with that PCI compliance. So what does that mean? If you're doing reoccurring payments, you don't want to be like writing down different card numbers. You want it in a secure system. So we do have something called Converge that allows customers to have reoccurring payments, installment payments, where those payments are in there securely. So by pairing the most secure technology with our different security standards with PCI, that's what we can provide businesses, the state of the art security and PCI standards.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And just to kind of mention, we had briefly discussed, and I'm not going to ask you to go too far into this, but just the idea that the more secure the transaction, the lower the interest rates could possibly be on that transaction. And so really taking into account that you're processing the most secure transaction is in the interest of the small business, correct?
Yes, correct. So a face-to-face transaction in a typical retail environment is going to pose a lower risk than, say, something that is done on e-commerce. So just because, we don't know who's behind the screen ordering different merchandise in an e-commerce environment. So because of that higher risk, you will typically see what's called like at least a keyed rate, which would be slightly higher than your swipe or in-person rate. So, and that just all coincides with the risk that's involved with that. But so just keep that in mind too, that your rate may not be just the same across the board, just depending on how you process.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think this is so important for small businesses to really get a handle on, the entirety of the payment processing platform when they're searching out, who to use and how it matches best with their business.
Elizabeth,
Yeah, go ahead,
one
Brent.
thing just to expand on that a little bit too is it's important we try to change behaviors, right? And it's in the best interest, as you mentioned, to get the lowest rate possible, the most secure transaction is not only for the business owner to know this, but to make sure they train their employees. As we know, gas stations, right, they now require a billing zip code because they were getting charged the highest rate. They wanted to make it more secure. Adding that feature makes it more secure, less chargebacks, and it gives them a lower rate. Well, businesses, restaurants, folks that take cards over the phone as well, they have that same security procedure in place. Now, you want to make sure your employees enter that information in there. They do have the option in most processors to skip through it. The card still goes through, still get your money. Problem is now you've got charged the highest rate possible, and you haven't captured all the information should a chargeback arise. So changing behaviors and their approach can also help a business too. They want to make sure that it gets down to the employee level to make sure they're not bypassing these features that are put in there to protect the business and protect the customer.
Thank you so much, Brent. I think that's a great tip. And when you say that it's important to enter the information, and you're talking about possibly an e-commerce transaction or a transaction that requires an address, a phone number, a zip code, those kind of things, correct?
Correct. E-commerce, usually the site, whether we build it or the customer has it and we add the buy button, those features are layered in there. They usually are requirements. But a phone, if I'm calling to place an order at a restaurant, they take my credit card number, they take the expiration date, maybe even the code on the back. But the terminal, the equipment should ask for AVS or address verification. Person on the other end can skip through that, but the business owner is going to get charged a higher rate. If they capture that information, then if I try to dispute the charge later on down the road, you have all my information. It's tough to dispute that I made that purchase there. Plus, it gives them a much lower rate too. So making sure that when those prompts do pop up, you gather as much information as you can.
That's a great tip. Thank you, Brent. Could you mentioned the word chargeback, and we didn't speak about this at all beforehand, but could you explain what that is, just so our audience really has an understanding of what a chargeback is and why it's bad? Is it
Sure.
bad?
So, yeah, it's not great, but it's not the worst thing in the world. They're rare and they very rarely happen, but they do happen. If a customer has a dispute or something happens and the customer goes back to their card and says, I didn't make a purchase there, I didn't authorize that purchase there, whatever it is. Again, they are rare, but good thing about what we do in Elevon is we work on our customers' behalf to help them keep their money. Again, it's ultimately given to the decision goes into the card brands of where the money goes. But we'll again try to do everything we can do for our customers to make sure they keep their money. So I make a purchase at a restaurant, a location, a retail shop, whatever it is. I go back and say, call my credit card company up and say, I didn't make my purchase there. Then they freeze the funds. So whatever that dollar amount, it's frozen. So it's not back on my card. It's not in the customer's account. Then it activates us to reach out to our customer. Gather as much information as possible. How was this transaction taken? What information did you get? Was it face-to-face? Was it over the phone? Get as much information as possible. We then supply all that information to the card companies, and then they make their decision. So we put those parameters that we just talked about in place to gather as much information as possible. If it's inserted and they get the PIN, it's probably going to err on the side of the customer keeps the money, right? Our customer keeps the money. If we have a signature, if it's hand keyed, but we got every bit of information, we got a numeric street address, we got the expiration date, we got the security code, we got the billing zip code. A lot of this information, the more that our customers get when their customers have transactions, the easier it is to make our case. So chargebacks do happen. Most industries, it's not really an issue. It's rare if they ever do happen, but they do bubble up. The good thing to know is we'll fight on your behalf. You have a partner in your corner that's going to gather information from you and present that, and then keep you up to date and up to speed throughout the entire process.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I've heard the term, and it's good to have some foundation behind it and understand what it is. So thank you for explaining that a little for us. So let's transition into kind of a fun talk. You had lots of great tips for bringing customers back in this holiday season using gift cards. Could you kind of lay out some of those reward programs, loyalty programs, gift cards, promotional items that you had discussed with me the other day?
Sure, and just to make mention, right, I'm very passionate about our gift card program because I really do feel it can enhance any business. So when you think about gift cards, let's start out with the obvious. Yes, it can replace your paper gift certificates if you are still using paper gift certificates. Just imagine that process if a business still had paper gift certificates. Someone wants to get a $50 gift certificate, got to go in the back, unlock the safe, get a piece of paper out, walk back up, fill it out, give it to the customer. Then what happens when they come back in and don't spend $50? They spend $35. Do you cross out the number and then write $15 left? I mean, that process isn't as smooth as you'd like it. So our gift certificates, you can get your logo on them. They can be custom. You can get generic ones from us and improve that process right there. You'll also get email notifications of the gift cards that you have out and how and what the balances are. Customers can come in and check their balance. So it can serve that purpose if that's all you're looking for. But there are other ways we can use gift cards. Businesses can use gift cards to drive people back into their locations, enhance their business, reward their loyal customers. One thing we talk about is, and Beth mentioned this earlier, is what's your return policy, right? Well, if a customer wants to come back and return something, I either give them cash back or I put money back on their card. What if you had gift cards? What if you could put that money on a gift card with your logo on them and guaranteed they had to come back to your location to make that purchase? Big box stores do this all the time. Small to medium-sized businesses can't have that. Again, other processors aren't having conversations about what's your return policy, right? How can we enhance your business? Some really creative ways that we can use gift cards is as promotional cards. Say you get 500 gift cards from us. They've got your logo on them. They've got all your information. You have them up at the front counter if people do want to purchase gift certificates. But what if we took a handful of those and used them as promotional cards? What if you took 100 of those and put $2, $3 on them? It's no money out of the cash register, it's virtual money, right? And you hand those out to your loyal customers. You hand it out when someone makes a purchase of over $100 and say, hey, your next purchase, you get $3 off. What if you, every time they made a purchase, you give them $1 off a gift card and tell them, look, give it to your friends and family. Tell them you had a great experience here. They get a little bit of a coupon or a promotion next time they come in. It's easy for us to tie a little ROI around that. We give them the price of the gift cards and then figure out what's your average ticket, right? If you take 100 of these cards and you give them out into the public to your loyal customers, how many have to come in before you recoup your funds, right? How many have to come back in before you pay for your processing? If your average ticket is $50, right, and you put 100 out there, what if you got 20 back? I mean, that's quite a big number right there that you may not have gotten if you didn't have the gift card program. And we can come up with unique and creative ways to use these as promotional cards, right? We have businesses all across the country. Some of the ones we came up with recently was, we mentioned it, you know, the last time we spoke, was a local sporting goods store. They partnered with the local schools. And during the given sports seasons, they would put $2 on their gift cards and pass them out to the teams during the local sports seasons. So what they would do is then they would take that back and give it to their parents. Now, we all know we're probably not going to go spend $2 at a sporting goods store to buy a thing of shoelaces. You're probably going to spend much, much more. But what it did was it drove foot traffic into their location. Maybe their average ticket's $100. So take $2 off 100, they still got $98 they may not have gotten. A hardware store, a local hardware store, partnered with real estate agents. So every time they sold a house, those real estate agents gave their new clients a gift card to this local hardware store. If you've ever bought a house, own a house, you know you're going to have to go to the hardware store. So how can the local hardware store compete against Lowe's and Home Depot and the big box stores? Well, they gave promotional cards out. I got $50 off. I've got to go to a hardware store. I'm going to go to the local hardware store, use this gift card. Then I'm going to have a great experience. Then I'm going to tell my friends and family what a great experience I had. That's how we drive traffic in. They can use these cards like the chain restaurants do. If you get a $50 gift certificate now for the holidays, we'll give you an extra $10 gift card for yourself, to keep for yourself. If you spend $50 or more, we'll give you $5 or $10. Now, all of a sudden, they're increasing their average ticket. We see that all the time. If you spend a certain dollar amount, you get something free or above and beyond that. You know, our customers can do that same thing. They can still take those same programs and adopt those and use those at their locations. The two very, very unique examples I mentioned the last time we spoke was a long time ago when I was a sales rep. I sold gift cards to a dentist. And I had a conversation with this dentist and asked him, was there anything that he did that insurance didn't cover? And he had just added teeth whitening to his practice. Now, again, this was a long time ago, but I said, well, how much is your teeth whitening? And he told me, and I said, well, what if you gave to your customers a gift card for $5 or $10 that they then win and they could give to their friends and family? If they have a special occasion coming up, a wedding, if they just quit smoking, if they quit drinking coffee, and you could drive people back into your location with a gift card. Customers that may not even know about your teeth whitening. Now it's part of your marketing budget. Now it's part of your marketing campaign to drive business to your teeth whitening. I mean, if he got 3 of these back, it paid for his processing every single month. So again, if we can come up with ideas to help a dentist with promotional and gift cards, I'm positive we can help any other business. And the last example that I use, it wasn't me, but it was a colleague of mine, sold gift cards to a funeral home. Now, I know it's sort of, how could you sell gift cards to a funeral home, or how could they possibly use them? Well, the thought behind it and the process was funerals can be very, very expensive. So in lieu of flowers, families and friends of the individual could get gift cards from the funeral home and give those to the family to help them reduce the cost of that funeral. Now, the reason I bring that example again is, if we can find a use for gift cards for a funeral home, I'm positive we can do it for a restaurant, a retail shop, a sporting goods store. So we have resources, we have ideas. Again, we want to have conversations. Let's get creative and think of ways we can drive people back into your location, increase your average ticket. Make sure that your holiday season, this season, even though it's unique, still is the best one you've ever had. And what plan can you now take? Do you have this marketing plan that you can now take into 2021 with you that you can help grow your business, that you can recover from whatever happened during 2020? So again, our gift cards can fit in so many spaces, so many environments. I feel that almost every customer that comes on board should get gift cards. They should find a way and see if we can't help them out, help their business and drive traffic back into their locations. We'll have conversations and we'll get creative with all the customers we talk to.
That's great. And you know, I was really surprised when we talked all about this too. I said, okay, Brent, this is great, but is it affordable? And you said it's very affordable. And so I feel like this is something that a lot of businesses can take away, especially this holiday season. And I do want to encourage businesses listening that it's not too late to implement some of these ideas, even for the new year, as promotional tools to get people back in after the holidays when business slows down. I want to remind anybody listening, either on Facebook or on Zoom, that if you have any questions, you can type those into either the comment section or the Q&A feature. We're going to finish up with one, just kind of a tie-in for Brent and Beth. Are there any other tips you have this holiday season for credit card processing for our small businesses that might be listening?
The only tip I have is have a conversation, right? Make sure that the program that you have and what you're utilizing to run your business and can accept payments for your customers is the best fit for you. That really makes a huge difference. If you can enhance your customer's experience, you can guarantee repeat business. You probably have amazing goods or services. The last thing you want to have is a program that doesn't fit your needs or doesn't fit your customer's needs because it was easy, because someone didn't take the time to have conversations. So ask questions, find a partner that wants to have a vested interest, wants to have those conversations, and try to build a program together that best fits you and your customers' needs. Customers remember their experience. They want it enhanced. They want to be able to pay. They want to pay. So let's find those avenues. Let's give it to them, and let them just focus on your goods or services that you have, because that's what's most important. The payment portion should be easy. You should have a program that fits your business and enhances your customer's experience. So we want to make this portion, it's a small portion, but it's a very important portion. Make sure it's the best fit for you and it's the best fit for your customers. So talking to them about gift cards, different ways to accept payments, staying safe, staying secure, getting that money back into your account as fast as possible, and having a true solution is the tips that I would want to offer any business that we talk to.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, well, we're going to finish up with what kind of our rapid fire questions that I ask all our guests on Quick Connect. These are just fun questions that kind of help the audience get to know you guys a little bit better. But let's start with one that kind of finishes up our talk. Beth, how about for you? If the audience walked away from today's session with one key takeaway, what would you want it to be?
That would be that we're here to help your business succeed. And no matter what type of business you are, we're here for you, and we definitely want to learn more about your business and tailor a program that's just as specific and as unique as your business. So definitely just reach out to us if you have any questions. Even after this talk, we'd be happy to talk to you.
Yes, and I'll be sharing your contact information in just a moment. So how about you, Brent? If there was one key takeaway from today's talk, what would you want it to be?
Just to remind folks that let's have conversation. This is an important part of your business. So make sure you work with a trusted advisor. Just do some research, find out as much information as you can, have those open conversations, make sure whoever you're talking to has a vested interest in your business, and you partner with a company that you trust and you feel good about. You're going to need some flexibility. No one saw this coming. No one saw the climate and the change that's had to take place in 2020. So be with a partner that can adapt, that can adjust, that can be flexible, and make sure that they can keep payments flowing in, because payments right now is just as important as keeping the lights on. So make sure that you take away that, look, I should have a conversation. Someone should talk to me about my specific needs and design a program for me.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a great tip. And it kind of links to what we do at the SBDC. We have conversations with our small businesses. We address all their needs, from just starting financial needs to marketing and all of those things as well. So I love that you guys have conversations with your small businesses and really guide them through that process. Okay, how about, Brent, for you again, how about this one? Who is your favorite entrepreneur and why?
Yeah, so I thought about this question quite a bit, and I just kept landing back on, I'm going to choose my mother. She was in the healthcare industry for a very, very long time. She was a nurse. She just found a calling in helping herself. So now what she does as she's gotten up in years is she branched out and started her own business. She didn't want to work for anyone else. She wanted to control her experience with patients, with individuals. So she branched out and started her own home healthcare company. So now she takes care of 5 to 6 different clients, from going over there, working with their families, having conversations, deciding what the best needs are for that individual, and then delivering that. So the fact that she's, you know, made it her life's mission to help other people, has branched out, has grown to see exactly what people need, wanted more control over that. You can't ask for much more than that. Someone that takes a selfless approach to business, is willing to help others, is willing to work with families during a very, very difficult time. I couldn't be more proud of what she does and how she's sort of approached her life. So that's who I landed on, no matter how many people I thought back. I couldn't just get away from that one example.
Thank you. Yeah, I find a lot of that with our entrepreneurs that we work with. It links back to compassion and passion, and it sounds like that those are two characteristics your mother has, and she brought it into running a business around what she's really passionate about. So thanks for that.
Yep.
Beth, how about you? Who's your favorite entrepreneur and why?
Yeah, so well, oddly enough, my favorite entrepreneur is my mother as well.
That's nice.
Friends either. So.
Yeah.
But my mom, she has been a professional groomer for, gosh, over 40 years, but she's owned her own business for well over 35 years. And really how it started, she's the oldest of 6, and they lost their father when he was 16. She was kind of led to help support the family. And one of the things she learned that trade from her mother. And between breeding, dogs and of course the grooming aspect. So she took that trade and her love of animals and support for her own family, and just took that and made it into a lifelong career. So she's starting to scale back a little bit, but she's still operating a small business outside of the home now instead of like right in town. So, but yes, so this is my mom as well.
That's great. Just 2 weeks ago, I did a women-owned business showcase with the women-owned businesses. And I think it's really great that you both chose your mother, because I think we're going to see a lot more women-owned businesses start to roll out in the future, especially as we move forward into 2021. So thank you so much for that. Okay, last question. And Beth, I'll just toss it back to you. Can you describe your favorite small business experience?
Sure. So I would say my favorite small business experience is, well, it kind of ties into a festival here in my hometown, the Abington Business Association. They run this is going into the 12th or 13th year, maybe even longer. It's called a Festival of Ice. Some of you may be familiar with that, but it happens every February in President's Day weekend. And it's just a great, all the small businesses in our community come together. They bring in different ice and do carving of different ice sculptures. There's always like a theme involved, but it's great because it brings the community together, and B, it gets everybody into the small businesses here in our community. So gives them a chance to, stop at a store that they may not have stopped into before. So that's definitely one of my favorite small business experiences for sure.
That's great. We actually have something very similar in State College here to that as well. And you're right, it does bring the community together. It increases the foot traffic around those small businesses. And here, our small businesses may even be sponsoring the statues in front of their stores. So
Yep.
kind of gets everybody, yeah. So same concept. Very nice. Thank you for sharing that. All right, Brent, go ahead and finish us up. Can you describe your favorite small business experience?
Sure. I've been in this industry, in this business for a long time. So there's numerous ones, too many to count, right? But one recently, we worked with a bread distributor. Obviously, he had very, very unique challenges, and no one had ever sat down with him and had a conversation about what those challenges were. Oddly enough, this bread distributor delivered to almost all of the local businesses. But what we found out in just talking to him was the last person to get paid by a restaurant is the bread distributor. Because if you don't have Italian bread on the tables, well, that's not the end of the world. It's not the biggest thing, the biggest problem that they might face. And they could, if they ran a little bit low, they could just run to the grocery store and grab some for any given night. So we talked about this earlier, is he had large amounts of accounts receivable out there. So not only did he deliver to other business customers, so he was seeing corporate cards, which is its own conversation because we found out that he was delivering to businesses. He also had a deli that, it wasn't large volume or anything like that. The main source of his business was the distribution of the bread to the businesses, but he had a deli too. So we were able to have a lengthy conversation about what all his needs were. How can I reduce my accounts receivable? We talked about this earlier. How can I increase my customer's experience at the deli? We got him a customer-facing terminal where the card never had to leave the customer's hands. They could type on it, they could put their email address in, they could sign it with their finger. We also got him gift cards. So just having an hour-long conversation of back and forth of not about their statement, not about what we can save them. It was probably 59 to 60 minutes in, and he said, look, we haven't even talked about the rate yet. He said, and I promise you, he said this, I don't care what I have to pay. I need all of this. I need to reduce my accounts receivable. I'm going to call these businesses up and tell them I'm putting them on a payment plan, or we have to drop in this clients. I mean, what a powerful message. He felt empowered. He felt like he finally had more control over his business by a simple merchant services conversation. No one had ever done that for him before. Again, he got a lot of our products. He walked right down the aisle if it's a grocery store and just picked them off. I want this, this is going to help me. We had conversations, and that pretty much highlights what we do. That's what gives us the best feeling possible. He wants to be a customer with us. He wouldn't want to leave us. We got sticky products to make him want to stay. We gave him everything that he was looking for. And it's that trusted partner that we really want to walk alongside him to help grow his business, make his life easier. Again, those are the conversations we want to have. So to have a conversation like that with a customer, to be able to say, we can help you with that, we can help you with that, we can help you with that. I mean, it was pretty powerful. It's a great experience. We have that more often than not. And that's what really drives us. That makes us passionate about what we do. That's why we're, so excited to have these opportunities to talk about what we do, because we really do help customers. This is a need. This is a necessary process in their business, and we really want to help customers. So the more that we can do that, the more wins we can post on the board, the more businesses we can help, and just enhances what we do and sort of gives us meaning and makes sure that we're doing the right things and we're really helping customers. Yeah,
that's a great story. I love the idea of really helping the business find solutions. That's what we do at the SBDC as well. I've had experience similar to yours, where we work with our customers to just help them find solutions, and sometimes it was laying right in front of their face. They just needed someone to point them in the right direction. So thank you for doing that. That's really great. I'm going to go ahead and finish up by sharing some of your information on the screen. So thank you so much to Brent and Beth from Elevon for joining us today. They really gave us some great tips on what to look for processing and credit card services. So thank you so much. Their contact information is here. I'm going to leave it up here for just a moment, but we'll also be dropping this into the chat in comment section in the Zoom, as well as the, sorry about that, in the Zoom, as well as the Facebook posts. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Next week, we're going to be doing a business showcase. We'll be talking to a lot of these businesses that are retailers that are doing Small Business Saturday this year. We're going to be talking about what they have going on, what challenges they are facing this year, why it's important this year, especially in relation to COVID, to really get out and support small businesses on Small Business Saturday, which would be November 28th, the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Again, here is our contact information. You can find this on our Facebook page or our website, sbdc.psu.edu. You can also find us on social media. So we're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. We post a lot of information, relevant resources for small businesses. So follow us on those social media platforms, and we can definitely get you connected with the information you need for your small business. Thank you again to Beth and Brent for joining us today. The information was so valuable to our small businesses, and really appreciate your time. To all our listeners, we'll see you next week on Quick Connect, where we talk with small businesses. We'll be having a showcase from our 4 counties. Thank you guys again, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you.
Yep, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.